Hello and welcome to the Courage and Confidence Festival. My name is Peace Mitchell and I'm co-founder of Osmompreneur, the Women's Business School and Women Changing the World Press. I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land that I live and work on, the Mafae people of North Queensland, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging right across Australia and the Torres Strait. Today we are celebrating the launch of our brand new book, Courage and Confidence. This book has been written by 24 incredible Australian women in business, and the royalties from the sale of this book go to providing scholarships for the Women's Business School for deserving women to be part of our programs. There are two courses that we have: the Ignite program, which is for early and pre-launch ventures, and the Accelerate program, which is for more established and experienced business owners who are ready to scale their business. So applications are open right now and scholarship applications are open as well. So if investing in yourself and learning more about business and getting the support you need to scale up is what you're looking for, I encourage you to apply today for the Women's Business School. So today we are chatting with a number of our amazing authors from Courage and Confidence, and I invite them to join me on stage. Hello.
Morning.
Hello, everyone. So fun. So I'd love to start by introducing each of you. So we'll go around the room. I'll start with you, Mafae. For people who haven't met you before, just tell us a bit about who you are and what you do.
Yes, Peace. Such a fun question when I'm asked this. So first and foremost, hello, everyone. I am one of the co-authors of Courage and Confidence. I'm also a mom of 6. I'm a business owner, and I'm also a proud daughter of my parents, and I have 2 amazing brothers who support me endlessly. And I am also a proud life coach, motivational speaker, and authentic presence coach. So that is me in a nutshell.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mafae. Sarah Stoddart, hello. How are you?
Hi, Peace. I'm well, thank you. So I'm Sarah Stoddart. I'm based in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, and I am also one of the proud co-authors of Courage and Confidence. So we're not contributing to collaborations like that. I'm a commercial lawyer with my own firm, Vitality Law Australia, which has a focus on the healthcare industry and supporting healthcare business owners through their business journey. I'm a mum of 1 and a stepmom of 1 as well. So 2 boys, which keep us very busy.
Thank you, Sarah. It's wonderful to have you here. And we have Melissa. Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Well, thank you, Peace. So a quick intro for myself. Obviously, I'm Melissa Haque, and I am another of the very, very lucky co-authors of this new beautiful book that's been released. I'm also the chief of and founder of the award-winning Play-Doh brand, Wild Dough. Mum of 2, a career marketer over here as well, and I'm coming in from Melbourne, Australia.
Wonderful. Well, it's so exciting to have you all here. And I'm going to take some time to dive into each of your chapters. And we'll begin with you, Mafae. So, Mafae, your chapter was about the art of reinvention. Can you tell me what that means, what the art of reinvention is?
So we had a discussion the other day about change, right? It's inevitable. Every day, every second of the day, we learn new things. And so if you understand how beautiful change is, then that is the art of reinvention. And all the opportunities that we're given when we have an open mind, open heart, then that's when we continue to grow as leaders of a family, as business owners, because we cater to many. I mean, as moms, that is a business in itself, right? That's why I bridge business as a business owner and being a mom in one, because you just don't know what will happen next. But if you're very open to that change, and you understand that it will be a process, then see the beautiful side in it. That's the art of it, right? But if you have a mindset that, I believe I was told to Jessie, one of the fellow authors, that in her dictionary, in her life dictionary, can't is not there. It shouldn't be there. But if you are in that position, listen to us, grab a book, because all these ladies right here will tell you how. We have found the art of life, right? And yes, it's not a perfect roller coaster ride. But if you enjoy it, just like when you were a little kid, you just put your hands up and just enjoy the ride, then everything will be falling into place because you're understanding that it's not going to be perfect. So for me, I have learned the art of reinvention because I know that I'm not going to be the same person tomorrow. And I wasn't the same person when I was in high school or in college. So for the young ones who are listening right now, guys, enjoy it. Because before you have your family, before you have to take care of other lives, that are just running around, sometimes like crazy, you're on your own. You are in control. And I think I mentioned that to Peace the other day too. You are the author of your life. You can make it beautiful. You can make it amazing. You are definitely the one in the driver's seat, right? There's so many people that can guide you, because as a driver as well, you need a mentor to teach you how to do that, right? So the art of reinvention also, the beautiful part in it, that you're not alone. You're not alone in the process. Put your hand up, ask questions. Resources are everywhere. Like this festival right here. You're not even, no, I don't think anybody has read the book yet, but I think a lot of the details and information that can help you with it, that will make you want to give it to others. I mean, apart from gifting it to yourself, you just want to gift it. Like for me, I cannot wait. And so every time I see you guys hold it up, like, I cannot wait to hold my own copy. But that is out of reinvention. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Now, in your chapter, you talk about the fact that we have to be careful to not be ruled by fear, and we have to trust the process. Can you tell us about that?
Well, in my experience, I did mention there that I was so scared to, I guess, lead my own business in the beginning, because I felt like I had to partner with someone, or I had to be with someone that was guiding me. And when I finally put my foot down, it was endless opportunities. All the experience that I had in the past actually were my internship or work experience that made me the person who I am. And again, going back to, who are you doing your business for, or whatever opportunity that you're trying to reach your goals, right? And when you have those support system, and I included this in my book, that my husband really was there for me, even getting mad at me at one point, telling me, why do you need a business partner? You can do this on your own. Stop relying on people, because at the end of the day, you've done a lot of things you didn't need anybody to hold your hand with. So this is like, it's not different, right? So when I was able to brush that fear away, oh, Peace, you cannot stop me now. I am just gonna go for gold, talk to everyone I know, and just see and just see all the collaborations. And when you finally let go of that fear, again, it's going back to having that support system, and then knowing that you can learn and grow on your own. Again, invest in yourself, right? There's so many programs, there's so many collaborations that people are willing to support you on. You just have to look for them. You have to seek them. And like I said, resources are just, it's in our fingertips, online. You have all these research tools. Exactly. I mean, I remember the time, and I am proud of my age, guys, where we had the yellow pages, white pages. I really went, okay, alphabetical order. Who am I gonna look for, or just really read the newspaper? But I haven't lost that. I still, when I find newspapers, I go from front page to the back of that newspaper, because I want to know relevant news. How can I find an answer to needs right now? That's really what a good business owner is all about, is what is the need of people today. You are the answer, right? And fear is not the answer, guys. You have to let go of fear, because there's so many people like myself, Peace, and my fellow co-authors that are willing to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But, fear of change is a big thing. And this is something else that you talk about in your chapter, because with change, there is the opportunity that it'll fail, that you'll make a change and it'll all go wrong and it won't work out. But what you said is that failure is a constant force in our lives. And we need to acknowledge that we're human and things won't always be perfect.
Exactly. We're not robots. We're not meant to be perfect, right? Our imperfections make us special. And we have to submit to the fact that, again, like I always say, a loss or a failure is a lesson, right? And you have to sacrifice. You have to experience it. If you don't, again, there's that fear. You don't grow, right? You know that, okay, maybe I can do this right now. Maybe I'll try it, or I'll take that leap of faith. And when you experience it, you learn that, okay, I'm missing these pieces. Like for me, I was a tennis player and I would train nonstop. But when I play a game, that's when I understand, okay, this is where I went wrong. I was too impatient. Maybe my anger got the best of me. Oh, I wasn't hydrated enough. Or I didn't get enough sleep. Same with your life, same with your business. You have to make sure that it's okay. Try it out. Like my fun discussion with you the other day, science experiment. Not every scientist had the right formula or the right ingredients in the beginning. They had to keep testing it out till they got it perfect so that they can help people, right? Same with us. We are the scientists of our lives. We need to understand our capabilities. We understand our limitations. And we know, okay, I haven't read everybody's chapter yet, so let me go and read them so that I can understand who I'm speaking to, right? Same goes. So when people experience that challenge, because I never really say negative words. I've made it a point in my own self not to say words that you throw into the existence that is a negative. So even that word F, I never say that. I don't know why I put it there, but maybe I put it there for a point for others, just to put myself in other people's shoes. Again, that's another way of leading, being a leader, understanding others when you're doing things for others. You can't say, oh, it doesn't work for me, so I won't bother. No, you have to understand everybody. When you become a leader in your own business, you're managing people. So you can't say, oh, they have to think like me. You have to guide them, right? So the guidance, you understanding also that you're not perfect and putting yourself in other people's shoes, that's what makes you even receive more opportunities in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really love when you use that metaphor of being a scientist and just looking at it as an experiment. I think that's a really great way to look at business. And we're always trying new things, testing new campaigns, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yes.
But I think the important thing, which is what you talked about, was rather than just like moving on to the next thing, is to reflect, well, why didn't it work? What did I do this time that the market didn't respond to, that they weren't interested in? How can I make it better the next time I try it? Can I do one or two things differently next time I do it? And will that create a different result? And that's exactly what scientists do. They're always learning and trying new things, doing things differently until they get that result that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. So true, Peace. I have a few people that I know very well that tell me that, hey, Mafae, I might have the name or the title, but hey, I'm like a plant. I grow each day. When I'm watered, or I'm taken care of, I'm comforted, then there's an understanding, and the comfort is your mentors, right? You have to have mentors. Until today, I'm proud to have so many mentors in my life. I make sure that I learn from different experts, because that's the way that you can kind of fast forward or absorb their learnings and then apply it to what you're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, something else you talked about in your chapter was the importance of knowing your why. And you said that your why actually fuels your business. Can you tell us
Yes.
about this?
Yes. Like I said, we're the driver, right? Our our drive is the petrol, the gas, and that's how we go full force. Whether I'm like a race car driver that want to go full speed, or I want to go like a golf cart that just goes steady. It all depends on your why, right? For me, my family has always been my why. Everything I do, I want to make them proud, or I want to help them succeed in their goals. And then it just domino effects to my outer circle, my perhaps business relationships, my friendships, and my acquaintances. Because for me, I go by the motto, what you see is what you get. You're always going to receive the same Mafae, no matter who you are. And I truly believe that's a biggest asset that I've really carried on since I was a little girl. And again, I have to thank my parents for that, because they taught me to be truthful. They taught me to have integrity and values. And that's my why. I want people to feel comfortable in their own skin. And that's the reason why I empower others with being authentic. And that actually my life coach even guided me on that title, being an authentic presence coach. That's everything under the sun, online branding, social media management, show production, and even just publicity. So for me, I put my heart and soul with my clients. I tell them, I've been in your shoes, right? I've been where I was afraid to be in front of the camera. I was there afraid to tell people what I was doing. But when I was able to share with them that I was authentic and I was being truthful because I was finding a result for their need, then that's when everything became beautiful, right? So again, going back, knowing your why is very important to you first and foremost, because it trickles down to every relationship that you touch or you nurture.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Mafae. I really agree. There's something else that you talked about in your chapter which really resonated with me. And you said, there is always tomorrow. And I just love that as an entrepreneur. We can get caught up in this needs to be
Yes.
done, this needs to be done, and oh my gosh, I'm not going to get it all finished, and I'm going to have to stay up all night and do this. But actually, it's not true, because there's always tomorrow. If it doesn't get done today, if today's not working out, go to the beach, do something different. It's okay. There is always tomorrow. I loved that.
I think the main thing that where all business owners go wrong, or even like women, we love to have a long to-do list, which we feel as though we have to finish it, right? But becoming intentional on even self-care allows you to do your to-do list with quality, with passion, with love, right? Instead of, "Oh, I gotta make lunch for my kids." It's not I gotta make lunch. I'm gonna put my love in their food so that they can feel why I love them. Even with your work with your clients, I'm going to take time to reply to this email and not make any mistakes in my spelling, so they understand I took time, right? And same goes, just planning or even meeting with people. Yes, we have an allocation for 30 minutes, but I'll go over like a minute, 5 minutes. Is there anything else? I'll ask that about 3 times, just to reassure them that, okay, I'm here for you, right? Yes, I am busy, but at the end of the day, this is your time with me,
Yeah.
And again, be intentional, because my best friend is my calendar. If it's not there, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm good. I've got time for myself. And I became intentional with that piece. Like I would block off, especially Sundays, for my families, because the company that I built, I have clients all over the world. So a Sunday is still a working day for other countries. So I intentionally made sure I blocked off my Sunday where I'm at to spend it with my family. So it's also nice to do that. If you want that lunch break, put it in your calendar. You know, it'll just make yourself last longer. You don't want to rush things, right? You want to plan it where your headspace is also okay. Because when you're not okay and you're trying to finish a deadline and you're letting your client know, hey, I'm not feeling well. Of course, in their mind, they're going to feel guilty. Oh, I was pressuring Mafae to do this, and then I'm not even going to get quality, right? Because there are some times that you will have clients that won't care about your feelings, but if you're quiet about it and then all of a sudden you're not even able to finish that project, then that's worrisome. You know, so plan it ahead. Give, I guess, your notice early that, by the way, on this day, next week, I will not be in town or whatnot, whatever you want to do. As long as you give notice in advance, that's also showing respect, that you respect people's time. So.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. It's important to schedule that time for yourself as well. And I think the other advice that you gave about being open with communication, if you're not feeling well, tell someone as soon as you can so that they're able to reschedule. It just, it's courtesy, but it makes such a big difference. And I think being kind to ourselves as entrepreneurs is hugely important.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Mafae. I really enjoyed reading your chapter, and I can't wait for you to receive your copy of the book. It is on its way, so it won't be long.
Yahoo!
To get to you across the ocean, but it will be there soon. And
amazing.
Thank you so much for being a co-author and being here with us today.
Thank you, Peace. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too. All right, I'd now like to welcome Sarah Stoddart to the stage. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Peace. How you going?
Really good, really good. So, Sarah, your chapter was about having the confidence to pivot. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, sure. So I think we all come to crossroads in our lives at some point, whether that's in life or in business. And we have a choice to take often the easy road or perhaps the road less traveled. And sometimes this crossroad comes out of nowhere. Sometimes it is quite an intentional crossroad. And my topic of having the confidence to pivot is basically hoping to empower women to have the confidence to take a leap of faith, change their direction for future success, and to feel better within themselves about the decisions that they've made, rather than follow the path that comes easily or naturally, which isn't always the best path for our family or our health or whatever else we have going on.
Yeah, and the pivot for you, Sarah, it was a pretty big one. And I just feel you were so courageous in making that move. But at the same time, I know that that was the best thing for you to do rather than staying on in your previous position. Can you tell us about that journey and the decision to pivot and all of those factors that impacted your choice?
Sure. So I was in legal practice. I've been in legal practice for coming up to 12 years. I'd been in top tier firms. I'd been in-house, and then I was at a smaller firm and was a director there, had been for a couple of years. I then fell pregnant with my first child and went on maternity leave. And when I was returning, the stars just didn't quite align for my return to work. So I made a decision to launch my own firm. Now, that was a very tough decision, and I did spend some time talking to friends about what I should do. It wasn't a decision that was made lightly. Obviously, there was the decision of actually starting a business. How do you go about that? Will it work? All of those questions. There was also the fact that I had a 5-month-old baby at that stage, my first child, so everything, every single day was new to me in that experience, and, you know, dealing with the sleep deprivation and all of that. Throw on top of that a global pandemic. So this story is in November 2020 when I launched my firm. So we were about 6 months into that pandemic. And I actually saw a quote last night that it was this week, 2 years ago, that we didn't know our lives were about to change. So it's been 2 years now, that pandemic, and that was kind of the last normal week of our life was 2 years ago. So all of that was going on, and I was struggling with, not being able to have visitors to our home and not being able to go anywhere, and having a baby that's obviously exposed to these illnesses. So you want to protect them as much as possible. So I had all of that going on, but I thought, no, I'm going to launch this business. Now, at the same time, I was experiencing some medical concerns, and people were saying, oh, it's the postpartum effect, that sort of thing. But eventually, after 8 hospital admissions, a number of tests, blood tests, scans, all of that, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So that all happened literally within a 3-month period. And my diagnosis came about 4 months after I'd launched my business. So at the time, I didn't think I was pivoting. I certainly didn't feel confident, but it is when I look back that I see that I did make a pretty significant turn. I had a number of challenges that I was facing at the time, and when you are faced with those challenges, you do have a choice. You can wallow in them, for want of a better word, and not move forward, or you can do something quite significant to pivot in a direction that is better for you in both the short term and the long term. So I haven't looked back after I've made that decision. The business is going quite well. But yeah, it does take a lot of confidence and a lot of guts, but I want people to know they can do it.
Yeah. Oh, your story is so inspiring. And I just think, how amazing that you had a young baby. We were in a global pandemic, and you'd received this diagnosis, but you knew in your heart that this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to follow your calling. You wanted it to be more flexible than a traditional role. And you've made it work. And congratulations, you won the Lawyers Weekly Sole Practitioner of the Year recently.
I did.
Within your first 12 months of business, which is pretty incredible. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. That was a great honor to win that award.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So one of your favorite sayings is, what's the worst that can happen? And I think it was a friend of yours who said it to you. And can you tell us about what that means when you relate it to business?
Yeah, sure. So it was a friend of mine that said it whilst I was in that midst of what do I do? Do I go back to what I know, but which will be difficult to execute now with all these factors, or do I do something new? And, I was sitting on her balcony probably asking 101 rhetorical questions about, will it work? How much money do I need? How much is it going to cost? Who's going to use me if I'm working in a home office? That sort of thing. And she looked at me and she said, what's the worst that can happen? And it sounds quite flippant, and it's a very simple question, but it is just so powerful because it forces you to stop in your tracks and think, well, what is the worst that can happen? And for me, with that decision about whether to return to a traditional law firm or to go out on my own, the worst that would happen is that, take option 1, you go back to the traditional law firm and it doesn't work out. But I think you also have that inkling in you that what could have been if I had done something different. Or option 2, you open the new law firm and it doesn't work out. So you can't manage it, or the clients don't come, that sort of thing. And what is the worst that can happen? I go and get a job. So I'm not breaking any laws. I'm not putting my family into financial distress. There's no death involved. It's literally not a life or death situation. So I think asking yourself that question actually grounds you a little bit and brings you back to reality, and allows you to focus on, yes, this is a significant decision right now, but in the scheme of life, if this doesn't work out, it's only just one little part of your life. And if nothing else, you'll learn something from it. So I would encourage anyone making any decision to ask, what's the worst that can happen? You'd be surprised at how powerful and grounding it really is.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it quickly puts to rest all of those fears and worries, because often they kind of, all the what ifs get bigger in your mind than they really are. But
And
if
the
you
what
take,
ifs are often things that haven't even happened yet or might not even happen. That's the thing. We're worrying about things, that haven't happened and may not happen.
yeah, and just by asking that simple question, you take it all to the end. Like, what if all of those terrible things happen and the whole thing is a complete flop? What then? What's the worst case scenario? And actually, it's not that bad. You could just easily get another job or start a different business or try again. So yeah, no, I love that advice. The other thing you talk about in your chapter is, if not now, well, then when? And I think for you in particular, you had a young baby and it was a global pandemic. Like, most people would think that's probably not the ideal time to start. And as you say, if not now, then when? Because, once the baby's older, once you've got a toddler, maybe that's not easier.
So once again, it's a powerful question when making any decision. And as I speak about in my chapter, there is never going to be the perfect time to do anything. You're never going to be organized enough. You're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have enough time or space in your life to create this. But that's fine for now, but if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? Because those roadblocks and challenges are always going to be there. So yes, I had a young child. Yes, it was a pandemic. Yes, I was being diagnosed with an illness, but that none of that really was ever going to go away. So we're still 2 years on in the midst of the pandemic. My child is now a crazy 2-year-old with a lot of energy. So arguably it's probably harder now than it was back then. And my medical diagnosis was a lifelong diagnosis. So that wasn't going to go away. So whilst those circumstances are specific to me, I guess the point that I'm trying to get across in my chapter is when trying to decide whether to embark on a new journey, a new business, new project, whatever it is, if you don't start now, when will you? I guess not making excuses to put things off and just embracing the moment, embracing your circumstances, whatever you have going on, because there's always going to be stuff that you need to deal with. So I really would encourage listeners, readers of our book, to just go with it, because if not now, then when?
Yeah, no, I love that. So simple, but so powerful. The other phrase that you talk about is start small, but dream big. And I know that taking those small steps was important for you when you started out.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't think so. When I started my law firm, I literally started in our home office with a laptop, a desk that we already had that was probably being used as a side table. I did the bare minimum of registering my business name and forming my company. If I had have said, I'm going to go launch a law firm tomorrow with 15 staff and all these amazing systems, that's not how it works. You need to start small and with what you have, so that you don't put pressure on yourself, and so that you can make sure you have really solid foundations in your business. Because if you go too much at the start, you're probably setting yourself up to fail because it's just all too consuming. But start small. Just do the bare minimum. What do you have to do to get set up? Okay, you're set up. Then what do you have to do to start getting your name out there or your branding? And there's fantastic resources available at very low cost to assist you with that. But whilst you are starting small and building that solid foundation, because you need that foundation to, make sure that you have longevity in your business, you still need to be dreaming big, because you should never stop dreaming. And the bigger you dream, the more you will succeed. So don't think about it as, here I am, a sole practitioner sitting in my home office. Think about, wow, I'm creating a law firm that services the whole of Australia and I have this expertise to offer. And then you might bring on a staff member and slowly your dream does become a reality. So I do think it is important to continue to dream, because your goals will only become reality if you stick with them and dream up those goals, because nothing is impossible. You can achieve whatever you'd like to achieve, but make sure you just start small and take those one step at a time to get where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Such great advice. And I think it's something that people starting out need to remember. It's okay to take those small steps. You don't have to have everything done right at the start. Just start. Just take those steps.
And I would add to that people on the outside can't see what's going on for you. So for my clients now, whilst I do have a home office set up, if my child is in here playing, or people can't see that. All they're seeing is the service and your delivery. So provided that's still up to scratch, it doesn't really matter what's going on behind the scenes, whether in your gym gear or not. So just remember that, keep that in mind, that what might be going on for you and what you're struggling with is not actually being seen on the outside in most cases.
Yeah, absolutely. So something else you talked about was the importance of finding your tribe. It can be so isolating as a new business owner and also as a new mum. And so finding your tribe is very important. Can you tell us how you went about finding your tribe?
Sure. So I'm obviously in the legal industry, and that's a very traditional industry. And there are a lot of groups within that industry that you can become a part of. And as a junior lawyer, I did get involved in those, but I didn't ever quite feel that I fit. So I didn't walk the walk and talk the talk. And those events never made me feel particularly comfortable. And then I heard about a thought leader in the industry who was doing things quite differently, doing a lot of study on finding happiness in law and why is it that in law alcohol abuse, drug abuse, mental illness is so high compared to other industries. And I thought, oh, she sounds interesting. And then she held a conference, and I thought, oh, I'll go along to that. And that for me was the game changer in finding my tribe. So all of a sudden, I was immersed in a group of lawyers who were not like any other lawyers that I'd come across, mainly sole practitioners or owners of small firms. And they were genuinely interested in doing law differently, delivering services differently, finding happiness, not getting bogged down in the stereotype that is often associated with the legal industry. And I'm still a part of that conference. I go every year, and there's also a membership group associated with that, which I'm also a part of. And those people are definitely my tribe. And we regularly share our wins, we share our challenges, we share our ideas in a safe and really supportive space. So my message to readers and listeners is to find your tribe. So you might just be looking in the wrong place. You might need to look outside of your industry. You might need to look within your industry, but in a different spot. There are people out there who want to support you and who want to share your wins and your challenges and your ideas. And as entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, it is an isolating road, and you do need to reach out and make sure that you have those people around you to lift you up on your bad days, to share the load when something happens, like there's an event that, or an occurrence in your business where you just can't do something. Someone else can step in and lend a hand, share ideas, everything that I've just mentioned. Those people will become your board, I suppose, the people that you bounce ideas off, and they're there to encourage and support. You cannot do this alone. You can't do small business alone. You need to find your tribe. So I would encourage readers and listeners to go out there and find those people. It doesn't have to be a massive group. It can be quite small, but it needs to be mighty, and it needs to give you that buzz and joy when you're around those people.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I don't think I would be where I am today without the incredible community around me as well. It's so important, I think. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. I've really enjoyed our chat today, and I loved your chapter in Courage and Confidence. If anybody would like to order their copy, the link is in the comments as well. So thank you, Sarah. I'd now like to introduce our next guest, Melissa. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
Oh, sorry, I think I was muted there for a second. So excited to be here. Thanks, Peace. Going really well.
That's wonderful. So your chapter in Courage and Confidence is when positivity and problem solving are a superpower. And I just want to know, are they your superpowers, positivity and problem solving?
I certainly think they are, yes. And it actually was one of the things when I started writing for my chapter that I really started kind of honing down into the points that I wanted to share, and the why behind the things I've done and how I've done them and why I've done them. And it started, I've always been a super positive person, and that within itself, only gets you so far sometimes, I think. But it certainly has helped me a lot along the way. And I think when I pair that with the fact that I have made some very courageous decisions and done some, I think, in business, really courageous things. And when I started getting into kind of the how to be courageous and why I am, it started really coming back to the fact that I trust myself so deeply, and I trust myself because I can solve problems. So at the end of the day, it feels a little bit like, nothing is off limits if you can, get to where you want to be going. It may not be the path you thought you were going to take, but when you can problem solve along the way, it really helps. So, I guess they are. They're my self-proclaimed superpowers, and I absolutely probably, stand by them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it was one of your friends who said to you that you were so fearless. But on reflection, you were like, well, actually, sometimes I am afraid. But it's that problem solving ability that you have, which allows you to navigate potentially scary situations or challenges that you're facing.
Oh, absolutely. And my oldest friend of all time, she has many times over the years referred to me as fearless, and I just love that. And I think the first time she ever said it, I was just she was maid of honor at my wedding, and she said it in her speech there, and I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, I don't think I really am fearless, but in her eyes, I absolutely am. And I always think about that. It's always in the back of my mind. It's like it's put that seed in there, and I think it's another thing that does help me, be courageous as I go. The fact that people do see me as fearless, but one of the sections I did write about in the book, it certainly was about getting into that kind of nitty gritty of how can you be fearless? And you know what? I'm probably the scaredest person out there. I'm so afraid of doing things all the time. I plan and plan and plan and plan and plan. And, I go back and second guess myself, and imposter syndrome and all the things we deal with on a daily basis. I still have them, or maybe more than a lot of other people out there. But I think at the end of the day, I do have this ability to kind of think big picture. And I do have this ability to plan steps of the way to get me to where I want to go. And then sometimes when you're kind of chunking it down into these small little steps, it doesn't seem so scary. And sometimes when you really, you do have this ability to kind of, to realize that, where is the fear coming from? Is it fear of putting yourself out there? Is it a fear of failure? Is it a fear of being, laughed at by somebody? And what is it? And to me, like right down into the core, I have a huge fear of failure. Which I think is probably pretty normal out there. And, it's to start thinking about, failure as well in itself. Like what does it actually mean, and what happens if you fail? And I love just hearing Sarah just now, because a lot of what she said resonates with me. And of some of the phrases that she said, I've actually written into my chapter too. And it's things that I think about often. And I think it is, really important to really start thinking like in and down to why you feel the way you feel, what do you need to overcome it. And to me, I really don't think of myself necessarily as fearless or courageous, but I've really honed the skill of being able to kind of figure out where I need to go and not be afraid of changing along the way to make sure I can get there. And it's been a journey, and it's still something I'm working on for sure, but it's so nice to start getting into kind of the nitty gritty of, why do those people see me as fearless sometimes? And, how can I see myself as that as well?
Yeah, well, I love that. And I love that problem solving is one of your superpowers. It really is it's another way of being creative, I think, problem solving. And using that creativity to come up with new ideas. Is that what your experience is?
Oh, absolutely. I think, it is thinking about how to get, how you're going to do it a different way if the way you initially think you need to do it isn't going to work. So, you need to be creative. You also need to be ready to kind of shift and change and pivot. And, you need to be okay with things changing along the way too. I love change. I have always loved change. And I've recently come out of a 15-year corporate career where huge, big companies, they change sometimes, but the people you see that you work with alongside with, there's a lot of people who are fearful of change. A lot of people scared of it. Restructures happen and these things happen all the time in these big companies. And that excites me. I'm very much a change lover because, new and exciting things come from change. So I think that, on the road to problem solving, it's all these little things along the way that, I sum it up as myself as, I'm a great problem solver, and I am, but, I'm okay and open to change along the way. I'm okay to, sit down and really strategize a new way to do it if the initial plan isn't there. I trust that I will figure out another way, or I trust that I will, if it's not my own idea, or find, talk to the right people or do something and be active in figuring out another way. So all these little, I think, pieces really come together to then let me say, I can problem solve. I can figure out an answer to almost anything because, there's so much that goes into it along the way.
Yeah. That's such a great quality to have, that growth mindset and being open to change, and the fact that you say that you openly love change when it's something that so many people are scared of. I think that's really powerful. And, the last 2 years have been filled with changes, and some of the businesses that are no longer around are the ones that failed to adapt to change. What lessons from the pandemic did you learn?
Oh, holy moly. It's been huge. So my business Wild Dough is only 3.5 years old. So we have really, it feels like, over half our life so far has been in pandemic world. I mean, that just, I never want to say it feels normal because, it takes a while to get there, but, that's almost all we know now. And it's been a big part of what we do. I mean, I've always been so proud that our product is, it's handmade and it's completely made with Australian materials and ingredients and resources that go into it, which I always thought was such a great thing for us to have. And when the pandemic happened, I thought, oh, there's all this crazy stuff going on overseas with manufacturing. I'm cool. We're all Aussie made. We're sweet here. Like nothing's going to happen to me. And it did. It was a huge impact, as international manufacturing closed down. All of the Australian companies said, how do I find it locally? Where do I go? So whilst I thought that I wouldn't be impacted, the sheer demand that was then put on our local manufacturing, it really was an impact for me. And, I don't know if anyone out there remembers that we had a nationwide flour shortage at one stage. I mean, one of the biggest ingredients that goes into my Play-Doh is flour. So all these things that kind of happened did end up impacting us and actually left us in a place where we couldn't even supply product for almost 4 months when the pandemic first happened. We didn't have materials. Living in Melbourne, where we had, the most notorious lockdown, I think, in the world, we couldn't actually make manufacturing. Everything was closed down. It was a really, really hard time in terms of what it did, and I really didn't think that would happen. I think we just heard Sarah say that this was like the last week of normality we had almost 2 years ago to the day. And, I was still sitting back, sipping cocktails, not really, but pretending,
really.
Thinking we're sweet here down here. It's never going to impact me or my business. And it really did. But I think that's, been such a challenge, but it's also kind of shaped what we are doing and where we are now, because it forced me to, yes, I won't lie, I wallowed in the pity for a while. I absolutely did. I didn't stop and get up the next day and say, let's own this. Like that did not happen. But I did the self-care regime, and while I wallowed, I ended up continuously thinking about, like, what do I do here? What are we going to do? What do you want to be as a business owner? What, where is your passion? What do you want to be doing here? Do you want to do it at all? And it just kind of like kept coming back to like a phrase in my mind, which is, get in or get out of the boat, Mel. Like, either get in and make it happen, or just get out and be done with it, sort of thing. And I think that Wildo as my business is, I'm just so passionate about being able to bring such a quality product to families out there that I know kids play with for a really long time, which, in itself then lets mums have that bit of time back and can enjoy that hot cuppa or whatever it is. So through that passion of still wanting to help other mums the way the product had helped me and my own family, I thought, let's just get in this boat and see what the hell we can do with it. So, the impacts during that time were huge, but it also made me, find the courage from, wherever I pulled it from in what felt like really dark times, to actually like get up and make some really big decisions and say, I am moving forward. I want to move forward with it. I've decided. Now let's take some action. What does it mean? And, let's make it happen.
Wow. And do you think, looking back over that experience, that in the end it changed Wildo for the better?
Oh, absolutely. I think, it's Wildo something that I started originally, like, from my kitchen bench, and it was certainly kind of like on, we were really quite successful, but I'm still, key person dependent, and I still am right now, but, a lot less than what I was then, I guess. And, it was something I was trying to grow and trying to do on the side. And, I'm a mum of 2 young children. I was filling my corporate career as well, and I wanted to do Wildo. Like, there was a lot going on. And it was something I wanted to be really successful and great, but it was still just something that was kind of over to the side, and I didn't have to put too much pressure on it. And, it was kind of successful within itself, not because, I was working on it day and night and everything else as well. It was just, a great product, and our customers knew that. So it was, it was growing itself almost. So, having to then, stop and then feel what it meant for the business that we couldn't supply. And though there was such high demand there, because suddenly all the families had their kids at home, and they hadn't had that forever almost. And I was one of those families as well. And, any product that could give parents a bit of space, which was, non-screen for their kids, it was obviously in high demand. And, I kind of felt that pain, because I was going through the same thing myself, suddenly having to have kids underfoot, and my husband worked out of home. So he still continued to go to work during this time. He was one of the few that were allowed and had to do that. And so it was me. I was juggling work, a business, and my kids all at the same time. And so, I think that I would have just kept, I guess, keeping on with what I was doing then with Wildo, which was, being pretty chuffed that it was a great product and my business was kind of scaling up, but not actually feeling like I wanted to step into it completely, and I wasn't probably just going to put a full rocket up it, if I can say that. Which, when I was then had this challenge of like, we can't supply, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And I had to actually make some changes, and I had to invest, and I had to, bring on staff, get premises, do all these things. It actually forced me to go, okay, now I've got more skin in the game, and I'm there because I know I want to be. What does it mean for the business, and what do I need to be putting into it? Where do we have to sit to be able to make this work? And, what are the plans and the strategies, and what does it all look like? And so it forced me to do that once I made the decision that I was in that boat. And it's taken off. For what feels like a pandemic business, it's not quite, but I feel like we're having a heyday since pandemic started. It's certainly, we can see the changes in it since I made those decisions.
Yeah, that's incredible. That 4 months that you had where you weren't able to supply product must have felt like, in some ways, the end. But you had that courage and confidence within you, that problem solving, that never give up determination as well, to really use that time to focus and and get really clear on your vision and turn it around. So yeah, congratulations on that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So,
I must say that, you know, it was tough times, but yeah, I feel like I will never forget that, being able to step out of it.
Yeah, incredible. Something else that you talk about in your chapter is collaboration. And I love that you talk about problem solving and also collaboration, because you realized that you didn't have a skill as a photographer in photographing and photographing your products, but because you're so good at problem solving, you found a way around that, which has been so powerful and so much better than if you had have just taken the photos yourself. Would you agree?
100% I agree. Yes, and you're making me you're making me smile, because you're right. It's you know, that's what you do in business, right? You find the area. Well, in my experience, you know, find the things that you, one, not good at, two, and I did this a lot, things that you don't actually want to do, like bookkeeping, accounts, all that stuff is on my get off my desk list. And then, you know, find ways to get it done anyway. So, you know, I'm a big believer in like what I love to do and what I want to do, and I just want to do that. And obviously, you know, starting a business, you were not just doing that. You know, you're not living in CEO land where you can just pick and choose the things you are. You're kind of, you're in the grid of it, doing everything. You know, you're the marketer, the salesperson, the website builder, the photographer, the cleaner, you name it, you're everything. So I think in terms of my, like, especially in the earlier days of my business, I absolutely felt like I became a bit of an outsourcing queen, but also very much built on, kind of pulled from my own, you know, career marketing, strategic marketing experience to start really trying to market my business in a different way. And through one of those ways was collaboration. And, you know, the art of collaboration is a section in my chapter where I'm really talking about, you know, finding partners out there, whether they're brands or influencers or whoever they are, and, you know, sort of tit for tat, go into an agreement together, and you give them something and they give you something back. And my whole experience with this, and I've been, you know, really great at getting it done, which is, you know, we've really just been sharing product a lot of the time, you know, as opposed to, you know, paying people out there to do a lot of things we needed to be done. And, you know, I'm super proud of the fact that I'm almost still to the day never taken a photo of my product. And the reason that's happened is, well, I'm just terrible at it. I will admit that I've attempted it many times. So I've never gone as far as like even going with it. Like, I'm terrible at it. But I still have these amazingly beautiful photos of wild doe that we get to share everywhere. And, you know, a lot of that's come off the back of, you know, partnering with people out there who have this skill, but maybe they've also got kids, family, something that they're looking for the product for as well. And, you know, what can I do for them and what can they do for me? And you know, I've been able to definitely collaborate and build relationships with so many on our journey so far to, you know, ensure that some of these things that I'm not great at or maybe don't want to do, I've been able to get done.
Yeah, I love that. So clever. And it's a strategy that all of us as entrepreneurs can use. Find the people who you want to work with and collaborate with them. And yeah, I feel like this book is a beautiful example of a collaboration where we've all come together, we've all shared our stories and our wisdom, and we've created something completely unique and new and special and beautiful. And it's going to be going out into the world soon. So yeah, it's super exciting.
I 100% agree. And I think the best, you know, even just like about the book itself and like such a large collaboration is that we are all so different. All of the beautiful business owners and successful women who have shared the chapter in there, I feel like we're all so different. But as it's pulled together as a book, you know, the underlying themes of what we're sharing, what we're all trying to do, it has so many synergies as well. So, and you know, it's the same thing in business, whether it's a collaboration like this or whether it's something to do with, you know, trying to sell your service or product. You know, find those out there that you can all offer something that to make it greater together than what you could do on your own, I guess. Even, and, you know, different views and different ways of doing things are even better, especially if you have the same goals at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being a guest today, Melissa. It's been wonderful having a chat with you. Thank you also for being one of the co-authors of this wonderful book. And thank you to all of our guests. It's been such a great session getting to have a chat with all of you. If anybody hasn't got their copy of Courage and Confidence yet, the link to buy is in the comments. And all the proceeds go to providing scholarships for the Women's Business School. So you're actually getting a copy, but it's paying it forward to other women as well. So that concludes our session. Thank you to all of you for being here today. I've really enjoyed this time with you and having the opportunity to dig deeper into your chapters.
Thank you, please.
Thank you so much. And that wraps up this session. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.